Paranormal Andy and Phantom Dark Dave. The Screaming Skull Podcast.
What's up, everybody? You're listening to a very special episode of the Screaming Skull Podcast, and we are your hosts. I'm Phantom Dark Dave.
And I'm Abnormal Andy.
And the audio might sound a little weird, but we don't really care about that because we're excited to record together in the same room for the first time.
That's right, man. We never get to record together, so we are face to face, literally.
That's because there's not two chairs in this room, so we're intimately sitting on we're in our hotel room on our two separate beds that are about 18 inches apart from each other. So, needless to say, something of mine is almost touching Andy.
Yeah.
But dude, why are we recording this together? It's because this has been a very special weekend.
That's right. We met up. I drove down to Texas, where Dave's at, and we went to Texas Frightmare, the horror convention.
Weekend passed, all 3 days.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And so that's the first time that we went to a convention together. This was your third convention?
Yeah, this is my third, yeah.
And my fourth convention, but man, this is all adding up to be it's the best that we've done. I mean,
oh, yeah,
and tons of fun.
A lot of fun. This is the first time I actually went with a friend that was into horror, so that really helped out a lot. Because in the past, I just kind of went by myself, so I just kind of walk around, get any autographs I wanted, but then just kind of keep to myself and not really talk to anybody. So this is kind of cool.
You were a loner.
Basically, yeah.
We saw a lot of those today,
Yeah.
and we tried to make friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want them as friends and listeners.
That's true. That's true.
People are going to hear this first episode and be like, the audio is trash. I'm like, that's okay. Listen to the next one.
We're recording on an iPhone in a hotel room, so you know.
Competing against a window unit AC that's really loud, but it's really hot outside, so that's going to stay on.
Yeah. I would rather be cool than...
We are cool.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Just to talk about what you were saying, too, for me, the reason why this is like top-tier convention status is... obviously, the guest list is great. Some legendary people there. The last convention I went to, I had a good friend go with me, Jose, and he is into horror, but not as much as you and I. But I was broke as shit, so I couldn't even get anything. So this was really cool because I, have a little bit of money that I was able to spend and get some neat stuff. And we're going to cover all that.
Yeah. It was a great time. Like we both met celebrities. We went shopping. It was a great time. I mean, and if you guys have never been to a convention, it's definitely something you got to do once in your life. Especially if there's some celebrities there from some of your favorite movies, and it's just like wall to wall filled with things that you can buy, collectibles, from movie posters, T-shirts, keychains, cassette tapes, VHS tapes.
Not many Laserdiscs though.
No, there was
I didn't expect it, but I was still disappointed that
we found one Laserdisc.
One Laserdisc in the whole place, and I mean, it was kind of tempting, but I kind of have a certain regard, and so it didn't really meet the criteria for me. But boy, that guy sure wanted to sell it to me, though. I guess no one else was looking to buy it.
Yeah, he had it was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 Laserdisc, and it had autographs from a lot of the cast.
It did, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But when you think about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, who do you think about?
Stretch, Caroline Williams.
Who else do you think about? Bill Moseley. Bill Moseley hadn't signed it.
Oh.
And I'm like, come on. If you're going to try to sell me on this expensive Laserdisc, even though you're telling me you have two of them, I don't think you do. But that's cool if you do. But, I mean, come on. You're not going to pay that price and not have, you dented my plate. It's important. But
yeah.
So just to kind of cover it, this episode is going to be a combination of things. It's going to be our Ask Anything episode. We took listeners' questions, and we came up with answers. We have no idea what is on each other's lists. We just both have the same questions, so we'll take turns answering those questions. That's a lot of fun. And then we'll go into a little more detail and depth about the convention, who we actually met, and, the trouble we got into and whatnot. So what do you want to do? Do you want to start with listener questions, or do you want to start with the convention?
Let's do the convention.
You want to do the convention first?
Yeah.
All right. So, as mentioned, weekend passed. So today is Sunday. We're recording. We just got back. The convention's about wrapping up now, and we went Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And man, I tell you one thing that's been really crazy is it was crowded.
It was. The convention I went to in Kansas City it was not nearly this crowded. But yeah, I was surprised about how many people there, and they did have a little bit of crowd control issues too.
Yeah, and some so this Irving Convention Center was like 4 stories or something, and in certain places it was not bad, but man, getting from point A to point B to point C to point D was fucking terrifying because half of the escalators were broken. There was lines almost going out the door to just use the elevator. And so Andy and I chose to use the escalators that did work, but then we kind of had a final destination moment almost happen.
Oh yeah, so they were kind of letting people go down the escalator in groups. They would let some go down and then stop and make us wait for the next, because at the bottom of the escalator, people had to be able to file out of the room down there. So whenever people are coming down from the escalator, they would have enough room to walk off the escalator. Well, when we started going down, there was already a group of people at the bottom of the escalator just standing there, and so there was really nowhere for anybody else to go.
Oh.
People just kept piling up at the bottom of the escalator, and people kept coming down the escalator. So we were getting kind of smashed, a little bit, and so that was.
I heard somebody comment that it reminded them of like one of those games on your phone, like when you get an ad and it's trying to sell you on it, and it's kind of like when the little wall's coming, it doesn't stop, and like all the candy or all whatever's getting pushed everywhere. That's what it was like, man. It's bodies.
Yeah.
No Pete Davidson though.
Yeah, fortunately, they stopped people from coming down the escalator, and we were able. The people in front of us were able to kind of file out and get going. But yeah, it was like.
But you know what I was surprised?
What's that?
Nobody touched my ass.
That's great.
If Renee was there, he would have touched my ass.
Oh yeah. Man, speaking of Renee, we got to meet up with him.
Yeah, and Julie, it was great.
That was cool.
We tried to get the gang together, but only some folks were able to make it. Shout out to Ed the Undead. I know you had plans, bro. Next time. But let's cover Friday. So, in a nutshell, Friday is very simple to talk about because I had a couple of goals. You had a couple of goals. I had a couple of goals. And we figured out how to knock out half of those goals in one night. But that's because it took all night to knock out one of my goals. And so for those who maybe don't know, some of my favorite horror movies are religious-based horror movies. I don't know why. It just, it fills my loins, man. I dig it, I once heard somebody say, they're like, oh, I'm not evil and I don't want evil to win, but if I'm going to vote for the bad guy, it's always better when they're fighting like the ultimate evil. That way it's kind of, it's a showdown. And I think that applies to me as well a little bit. And so I'm basically talking about like the ultimate evil, and that's Satan, that's devil, that's exorcist. And so Linda Blair was there. And so as you guys know, I am an avid Laserdisc collector. I have, ironically, and I know this is going to get some woos, but I'm a fan of The Exorcist Part 2. Heretic, okay? It's weird. I don't like 2 more than 1, but I do still like 2. And what's unique to the situation is The Exorcist Part 2 was never released on Laserdisc in America. So I made sure to still get the Japanese version with the OBI, and it got me very addicted to just straight up Japanese Laserdisc in general. I don't know what it is, but 90% of the time the covers are better. So anyways, I got this Laserdisc, and my goal was to get it signed. I've never got a Laserdisc signed before, and I told Andy, going to these conventions, that's going to be what I do. I'm going to get my Laserdisc movies signed. So Friday night, I said, Andy, let's go ahead. Do you mind if we go see Linda Blair first? Because I don't know why. Something's telling me like we should go ahead and do that now. And thank goodness that we did, because Andy, we stood in that line for 5 hours.
Yeah, 5 hours on Friday night. Like it was insane. I mean, there was a lot of people there to see her, and then like while we were standing there, Dave was like, "Hey, like we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. Why don't
like
you
Twitter?
What's that?
Like Twitter.
Oh yeah,
kill a bird.
So one of the people that I wanted to get autographed was Sybil Danning from Howling 2. Your sister's a werewolf, of course.
I don't have a sister.
Yeah. So Dave's like, hey, why don't you go do that, like, instead of just hanging, because I was just kind of standing around, hanging out with Dave, and he's like, and while you're at it, get my Japanese Howling 2 Laserdisc signed. And I was like, yeah, sure, all right. And so he twisted my arm, and so no, I was kidding.
I know it sounds horrible. It's all like, "Hey, will you go get this sign for me? When you're down there, get one for yourself." But I knew like this convention stood out to you because it's Howling royalty, and being that too is, I'm assuming, your favorite of the Howling franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's the one you grew up with. It's just it checks the boxes for you. It's your cup of tea. And so you're getting to meet the star of the Howling too. And I'm like, we have to go do this, Andy. And it's like, I have a feeling if everybody's up here meeting Linda Blair, you're probably going to be able to almost walk right up to Sybil Danning. When you get back, I'm probably still going to be in the same spot. And I almost feel like I had to talk you into it because I think you were kind of feeling a little guilty about leaving me, but also maybe you were like, oh, I'll just wait for you, bro. It's cool. But it's like, no, Andy, let's do this, man. We don't have to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true, and I'm glad that I went. So I went down, and I'm glad I went when I did, because I feel like on Saturday and maybe, I don't know.
More people.
Yeah, more people. But anyway, so yeah, I went down on the main convention floor. Yeah, and she was there, and there was maybe like 2 people in front of me in line. It was like she had a very small line, and yeah, it was cool. I got an 8x10. She signed that. She signed Dave's Laserdisc, and also I got a selfie picture with her, so that was really cool.
Heck yeah.
And I got to wish her happy birthday because her birthday was on Saturday.
Right.
And so she's like, "Who told you?" And I was like, "Well, I do my research." And she's like, "Oh, well, thank you." And she's like, "You're the first person that told me that." So,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, so got to meet her. So I went up and, kind of, walking on air or whatever, or walking on cloud 9 after meeting somebody like that. And so I went up and, found Dave. It's still in line.
Yep.
Actually, they had moved you to
just
that.
a little bit, yeah. I actually made it around the corner.
Oh, man, and when I got back, there was a little bit of drama happening.
Oh, my gosh, this tool. Okay, so there's this guy up there. And so here's what they're doing at the convention. Like, you have a weekend pass, so you're in line. Great. Well, some people don't buy a weekend pass. They buy a daily pass. Okay, this was Friday. So and I get it. This is kind of logical. They're like, for anybody that's a Friday only pass, and you're here to see Linda Blair, we don't know how much longer she's going to do this. So go ahead and come up here. It's pretty much like, let's make a separate line. And then the lady who was guiding it, who was awesome, by the way, she was awesome. She wanted all these people to come up to the front and interweave them. Boy. One guy was not willing to sit for this nor stand for this, and he just went off and started yelling about like, "Oh, I'm just unheard of. I've never heard of this," and blah blah blah. And you got to conduct yourself, or you're going to get kicked out. And after a couple minutes, some cops showed up, and then I didn't see that guy no more. So I think he must have lost out on meeting Linda Blair.
Yeah. So, like I said, we were there. We were there till like from 6. Or wait.
It literally, we walked into that place about 6:30. We got upstairs in line probably no later than 6:45. Dude, we didn't leave there till like what, 12:30?
Yeah, it was 12:30. Yeah. So we were,
I said 5 hours, but geez, it might have been more. But I'm just counting like how long we were in line having random conversations with people. That's a lot of horror trivia.
Yeah, we played this game where we tried to come up with the names of movies with a color in the title.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a little game.
It went for a long time.
Yeah, and then we actually had some people standing next to us jump in and try to play too. And so,
it gets kind of weird when people just join in randomly. Not because I'm really opposed, but because they're like naming stuff, and I'm like, already said it. Nope, already covered that one. But then there was some that popped up, and I'm like, man, there were some guys, I'm being really honest, I felt stupid. I was wearing a Barbara Steele Black Sunday shirt, and I didn't even say Black Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you said it, and I looked at you like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. That was kind of a freebie for me.
It was. But it all paid off because eventually we got to see Linda Blair. We made it into, because Linda Blair, she had her own room. Traditionally, it's like a big auditorium where several people are. No, man, she is horror royalty. Exorcist, I think it's quoted as still the scariest movie of all time. It's Linda Blair. She's up there in age. I don't even know if she's going to do another convention ever. So this is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And it was so cool. We got in there, and like I said, she's a little older. She's frail. She's sweet. And it's just, you're looking, and you're like, it's Reagan, dude. It's Linda Blair right there. And so I'm excited. The guy in front of us had an Exorcist hardback novel. That was cool. He got that signed.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And then leave it to me to whip out my Exorcist 2 Japanese laser disc, and I set it right there, and I'm talking to her, and she looks at it, and she's like, I don't even know what this is.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, I don't remember what she said.
I honestly think she had no idea what a laser disc was.
Yeah.
She obviously was probably aware of it when it was popular, but has since forgotten, and that just means that she hadn't signed one yet. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But I had to make a comment. I was like, well, I had to bring this because as I look around, I don't see no Exorcist 2 merchandise on this table. And there wasn't. There was stuff for, like, Chained Heat, which is ironic because it was Linda Blair and Sybil Danning, go figure.
Yeah, that would have been a great picture to get them both to sign. Yeah.
True.
That would be great.
But needless to say, it was epic because the one thing we left out was it got to a point where security had came up and they're like, all right, we've capped the line. You guys have still been in it for like 2 hours. What is the term? Like she's making circles at this point? Like
he said she was circling the drain.
Meaning she's about done. And
yeah.
At any minute she could just pull the plug. And so they gave the option. They're like, if you want to step out of line and get a pass to meet her tomorrow, a guarantee, come over here. And so, like, dude, 60%? A little more than half of that line. People went over, got out of the way. Andy looked at me and I was like, nah, bro, we're staying.
Yeah.
If we stay, she will sign it. And obviously, as we mentioned, it worked out and it was great.
It worked out, yeah.
We were literally third from the back of the line and we got to meet Linda Blair on Friday night.
Yeah, I got to see her too, so that was cool.
Yeah, you didn't have to pay extra.
Yeah.
But that was literally the entire convention Friday night. By the time we left there, the rest of the convention was closed. She was the only one. Oh, with the exception of there was a horror prom going on. It was an 80s theme.
Yeah. So we got to hear all that music because we were standing, the area we were standing was right next to the ballroom there.
Yeah, so we're standing in line to meet Linda Blair, but we're also banging our heads to like Thriller, Michael Jackson, Metallica. It was some good stuff. Yeah. Careless Whisper was playing.
Yep.
I kind of wanted to go, but boy, I was spitting at this,
Yeah. Yeah, so that was Friday, and we came back and just kind of went to sleep and got ready for the next day.
Oh, and I have to mention, too, for dinner Friday night, we had Taco Bueno. Andy's never had Taco Bueno before, so that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I've never had it, so it was pretty good.
Awesome. So, all right, fast forward, here we go. Saturday morning, how did we start the day?
We made a trip to Walmart.
We sure did, man. It's one of the only things open in the morning.
Yeah. Just to get some odds and ends, but then we came back.
You say odds and ends, you mean important things like Mountain Dews and Monsters.
Well, okay, yeah.
I mean, I know it sounds like we're 20. We're not, but we act like it.
Yeah. And I had to get a frame for my 8x10 of Sybil Danning, so that was important.
Absolutely. Keep the smudges off of it.
Yeah.
Keep it from bending. And then we went to Spider's Cave, which tell everybody about Spider's Cave, your first time there.
Yeah, so Dave was kind enough to take me to this antique mall in Irving, or Dallas. And you're like, wow, what's that Irving mall? Or what's that antique mall? It's like, well, when you walk in, it looks like a normal antique mall. But then there's a little sign that says, what does it say? I forget, collectibles upstairs or something like that. And it has a little skeleton hand pointing up. And so when you walk up the stairs, you start seeing horror merchandise. Like, wait a minute. Everywhere. And so there is. So we get upstairs, there's like 3 rooms.
Yep.
Full of like horror, sci-fi, kind of pop culture merchandise, man.
There's so much stuff there that it's one of those, if you blink, you miss it. Like, you have to look at everything multiple times.
Yeah, they had so much stuff. It was a little overwhelming. We were looking at the horror posters. They had DVDs, VHS tapes,
Betamax, laser discs. Like,
yeah.
It's all there. Which, ironic, I was collecting laser discs before I knew that Spider's Cave had them. So that was just an extra thing that was awesome there. I was like, yes! A place I can actually get these if I don't want to get it online. Yeah,
so that was really cool. I ended up buying a Chud movie poster.
Yeah.
And also got like a Godzilla little figurine or something.
Yeah, it was one of those mystery box things.
Yeah.
And it just is so cool because so many people like, oh man, you never know what you're going to get. And this dude actually landed the title character. That never happens.
Yeah.
It's not what you wanted, but it was a great second place choice.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Tell people what you wanted.
So there's a monster called Megalon.
Megalon.
And the reason why I wanted Megalon is because when I was a kid, I had a VHS of Godzilla versus Megalon.
You know, it kind of sounds like a porno I'd be in,
Oh, yeah.
describing me like, hey, that's Megalon.
Yeah.
TMI?
Yeah.
I don't care.
But so I wanted the Megalon figure, but that's cool. I got the Godzilla, which is fine too. I was happy with either one.
You want the Megalon figure?
Yeah, but it's funny because Dave told me that he also had that same VHS.
It's the only Godzilla VHS tape I ever had. I got it from a half price books for 50 cents because I thought the cover was cool. Ironically, it's the one you had
it's the
growing
same
up too.
one.
It's so weird.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Spider's Cave, and
I didn't get in. I didn't purchase anything. I just took you and let you look at everything.
yeah.
Okay, cool. And then we made our way to the convention, right? Saturday,
That's right.
Going to start this day right. Like, okay, Friday, we know how that went. We knocked out the big baddies we had to get. But there was still one person on my list that was a non-negotiable. And I told Andy, all right, we're going in. Is it cool if we immediately go to Tom Savini? Because that was another big reason I was there.
Yeah, it was. And and everybody has their stories about Tom Savini's. A lot of people are saying, oh, he's kind of a dick, and other people are saying, oh, he's cool. So you just have to kind of know how to approach him or whatever, because he's kind of not like a super like warm personality. He's kind of antisocial a little bit.
Sure.
Whatever. But I mean,
maybe it doesn't make the best first impression. It's kind of like somebody you got to just get to know.
Yeah. So, and we got to his table, and there was really no line, was there?
Nobody there. I walked right up to him.
Yeah. And it's interesting enough, I feel like most of the time that we were walking around his table, there wasn't a big line.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, and that's, I think, that could also be a sign of the times, because the reason that everybody was at this convention, it appeared to be for Terrifier.
Yeah, because you had David Howard Thornton.
Right, Art the Clown.
Damien Leone.
Director, writer.
And then Evan, the brother, and
Elliot,
yeah. And Sierra Shaw, Lauren Laverne, yeah. You had those four people there from the Terrifier series.
It's kind of crazy they didn't have the other girl there, though.
Oh, Victoria?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she does do them, but I guess she's probably doing something else. But
so they were kind of like one of the big headliners as far as
that's like
celebrities.
the it thing now, man. I feel like Terrifier is the modern day Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger. Some people who are, and it's so weird because it's so violent. We like it, but we would assume most people wouldn't like it. Again, we're amongst horror fans, so this is, we all love this stuff, but it's just mind blowing. I mean, there's children dressed as Art the Clown. I'm like, have they seen this movie? But
oh yeah,
it's like Freddy Krueger as Santa Claus, same idea,
Yeah. But you're able to go up and talk to Tom Savini. And,
sure did.
And you got a couple of posters signed.
I sure did, man. And so I don't know how this happened because I've always been a poster collector, but I've never sought out like original posters. It just never occurred to me. I'm like, does it matter? And I guess it doesn't. But then all of a sudden, you kind of become this kind of collector, and you kind of like an all or nothing kind of vibe. And you're like, if I'm going to collect certain odds and ends that are like my favorites, I'm going to go all out. So I was like, okay, I can meet Tom Savini. What do I get signed? And so what I was able to pull the trigger on, purchase, and get just in time, and I'm being honest, I haven't had these posters forever. I bought it because I do love the movie, but I had an opportunity to get them signed, so it is what it is. But what I was able to obtain is I got 27 by 41 original Rosemary's Killer poster, which people may know as The Prowler, because Rosemary's Killer was the original title and the title used in Canada, which ironically is another reason why I chose that episode for the podcast. So we just covered The Prowler. I was in a Tom Savini mood. And then I also was able to get another one that Andy and I covered back in the day for, was it Black Cat Shadow? No, it was the Days Pop Culture Podcast days. It was The Burning. And you gotta love some Cropsy.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a great movie.
So,
and I think The Prowler and The Burning are a good double feature too.
They are. They were both 1981.
Yeah.
It's like the year of the slasher, man, because that's right around the time you had Halloween 2. You had Friday 13th Part 2, all kinds of things. But it's hard not to just destroy your bank account trying to get everything that you want. but I made a choice. I got those 2 posters signed by Tom Savini. I met Tom. He was cool. He was gracious. I got a picture with him. That was awesome. And man, not too long after that, you met somebody.
Oh yeah. So after that, we went over because they were kind of real close to each other.
Yeah.
I went and met Bill Duke. Now, if people aren't familiar with the name, he is he's in Predator and he's also in Commando. In Predator, he played Mac, and there's a pretty famous scene where he has this big Gatling gun thing, and he just like mows down the jungle.
Yes.
Because they see the Predator for the first time, I think, and he freaks out. And but he's also in Commando. I can't remember his name in Commando, but he is the one that gets thrown onto a coffee table leg and stabbed.
Do they call it Commando because they don't wear underwear?
No.
I've never seen Commando.
So Commando, it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Ironically, 2 Arnold movies that he was, Bill Duke.
Oh yeah.
2 Arnold movies, and he's got 2 first names. So what's happening?
Yeah, so Commando is basically, so Arnold Schwarzenegger, he has a daughter, Alyssa Milano.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, name drops. Okay.
And
if you meet her, you got to get her to sign a Commando thing.
Yeah, for sure. And so, so the Arnold Schwarzenegger's character has a kind of past in the military and stuff like that. And there is something where, okay, so these kind of like terrorist guys or people from his past, they kidnap his daughter and they hold her ransom, but they want him to go to like South America and assassinate somebody. And that's like, or else they will kill his daughter.
Gotcha.
And so Bill Duke is one of the bad guys. He's one of the thugs.
Oh, wow, that's a switch.
Yeah, he's one of the bad guys. And so, yeah, I mean, it was cool.
And you got to meet him and get your picture taken with him.
Yeah, I got a selfie, shook his hand, and got an autograph with that picture of him with the Gatling gun. So that was a cool picture.
It's iconic.
Yeah. And, I'm trying to think. So,
well, the AC's kicking in.
yeah.
Might get a little crazy background noise. Apologize.
But yeah, so that was fun. That was just part of the day on Saturday. We did a lot of shopping on
I think
Saturday.
the rest of the day was just gawking at all of the damn things for sale.
Oh my gosh,
and having to make wise decisions and try to be an adult, but also still have fun like a big kid. And so, man, everything from the posters to the movies to the figurines, like, we wanted it all.
Yeah, and I even got a couple of cassette tapes, believe it or not. I mean, there
We're
was
talking like music cassette, not,
Yeah, so that was really cool. I got.
Remember when cars had cassette decks?
Yeah.
Man.
I got the Gate soundtrack and also Friday the 13th Part 3 soundtrack
Which
on cassette tape.
is Andy's favorite Friday the 13th movie, Part 3.
So there's no way I could pass those up. And I got some Blu-rays, and I got a VHS of Halloween 2, so that was cool. Of course, I got that after I met Sybil, which I could have taken that to her, got her to sign that, but.
Yeah. And something really cool is, we all know that VHS tapes always have some shelf wear, and it kind of adds flavor, sure. But if it could be pristine, that's really cool too. This tape not only was affordable and in decent shape, but dude, they sit there and custom made you a clear, hard case to go around it, which totally makes it look like one of those, not Blockbuster, but like Family Video or like drugstore type VHS tapes. It to me, it made it pop even more.
Yeah, it was really nice. They provided one of those hard plastic shells to put around the VHS to protect it, so that was great. And they put it on for me. So yeah, and everybody at the convention is super cool. It's really nice. All the vendors are really friendly. They'll like talk to you about stuff.
Dude, there was like Arrow Video was there. Vinegar Syndrome was there. Who else was there?
Severn was there.
Severn.
Wild Eye Releasing.
Yes.
Dark Sky Films.
Jeez. And a couple of like ones that are lower on the tier, but I've kind of come across them before.
Well, there was that one filmmaker, Bill Zabub, or whatever.
Is that the Dick Shark guy?
Yeah.
I said Dick Shark.
He was there selling his movies, and then you had...
All his movies seem to be a little more exploitative, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Basically...
Which, whatever.
Yeah. Then there was, like...
There's actually, if I'm watching like an exploitative movie, it's usually like one of the exploitation films that is of a certain genre or whatever. It's usually not like sexual exploitation. However, there has been one movie, I've never seen it. I don't know if I ever will, but it falls into the sexual exploitation thing that I'm like, oh man, if I was going to watch one, I want to know. And that's Amityville Vibrator. There's an Amityville Vibrator movie, and maybe we'll cover it when we do an Amityville segment. But I'm just like, oh man, I don't know if I can bring myself to watch it because it's extremely distasteful. But we are talking Amityville after all. So
yeah.
If Julie watches it with me, sure, it's a date.
All right. I was trying to think of some of the, and you had a bunch of like people selling T-shirts.
Oh yeah,
there was
lots of shirts.
Like any horror movie you could think of, almost they had a T-shirt for it. So that was really cool.
One thing we learned that was really crazy is, when you were buying the music cassette tapes, they have Chud too, but there's never been an original Chud. What's with that?
Yeah, I don't think there. I think of course they had a soundtrack for the original Chud, but I don't think they ever put on a cassette tape.
Well, sure, but these are like newly manufactured, so you think that they could just.
They could just make.
The audio isn't going to be animal. It's still going to be compressed and everything like that. So I don't know if that's like tied up in some legal rights or whatever, but man, that would be some cool wall art.
Yeah, and that's mainly why I got them, just for decoration. Just to have them as a collectible. Yeah.
Do you know what the last cassette tape that I got was?
No.
Here on Mars.
Oh, cool.
Name drop.
Yeah.
So, but dude, you bought a really cool deck of cards.
Oh yeah, so I got this. It's called the Horror Oracle, and it's basically like.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it's like these deck of cards, and each card has a different horror movie, and it has like a keyword on the bottom of it, like a, just a word associated with that movie. And so you're kind of supposed to use that as like almost like a tarot deck or something. And but the directions didn't come with it, and they said scan a QR code. Well, there was no QR code on the box or anything. I could never find any instructions. So that sucks. But then we kind of found a different use for them. We started playing a game with them. Like,
Andy comes up to me and is like, "Hey, you want to play War?"
Yeah, we did kind of like a horror movie War.
It's quite great. And
so basically, if you're familiar with the normal card game War, we do play with playing cards. Each person, you split the deck in two. Each person flips over their card, and the higher number wins.
Right. Top card of each deck. And in this case, it's like, when we did it, which horror movie's better?
Yeah.
Whoever wins that showdown gets both cards.
And then if we can't agree on which movie's better,
if they both suck or they're both great, then you go to War.
Then you go to War, and you flip over the next one.
Yep.
And then whichever one is better wins the whole thing. So yeah, that was fun. And then Dave actually came up with another game where we just have the deck in front of us. We each like one at a time we'll flip over a card and we'll try to get the other one to guess the name of the movie we're looking at using just like verbal clues basically.
Right.
And but I guess another version is you could play charades with it too.
You could, but some of these would be awkward to act out.
That's true.
But this is what you get, right, with two 40-year-old dudes in a hotel room that don't drink. Like, this is how we entertain ourselves. Like, let's play some War.
Yeah, it was fun. So
it was fun.
Yeah, so there's just little things like that you can get at the convention. Also, they had a tattoo booth too.
My goodness, did I want to go in there?
Yeah, Dave was trying to get me tattooed.
I'm just saying, I'm a positive and negative and positive influence on you.
But so I was kind of like,
you're an empty canvas. You got a couple and plenty of room.
I do, yeah, and like I was kind of hesitant to get where Dave kind of talked about. Hey, let's get Screaming Skull tattoos. I was like, well, maybe. And then he's like, okay, how about this? In 10 years, if we're still doing this in 10 years, then we get a Screaming Skull podcast tattoo.
Right, because if anybody knows me, there's a good chance they're like, it'll last 2 years and it'll be called something else.
Yeah.
Even Julie called me out on that. I'm like, that has always been true until now. Like, Screaming Skull, it is no better name. We're good.
A thought just came to me.
Okay.
In 10 years, are you going to have any spots left on your body for a Screaming Skull?
No guarantee, but I'm good with cover-ups, you see. So.
So yeah, but I mean, they had a little bit of everything at the
You
convention.
got some cool like pins that you could put on your shirt.
Yeah, Trick or Treat Studios had like these cool pins, lapel pins or whatever you call them.
You got Chud.
I got a Chud one and I got a Halloween 6 one, so I was very happy with that because I was looking for something from I was looking for collectibles from Chud, Friday 13th Part 3, Halloween 6, just all my different favorites. And I did get a Jason action figure from Friday 13th Part 3 too.
Yes.
So that was really cool. So yeah, this is just kind of an example of some of the things that you can find at a horror convention. I mean, there's just like aisles and aisles of vendors, man. It's like I had to just kind of cap myself. I was like, okay,
it's a horror nerd's wet dream. It really is, man. And it's eye opening to the amount of stuff that you wish you could have.
Yeah, it kind of okay. I can see what the possibilities are now. Like
you hear people talk about like, oh man, I want to put this in my man cave. Like I'm gonna need an actual fucking cave to fill that because there's so much stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Saturday, so we were doing some shopping, walking around, and we thought, hey, let's go check out a panel.
Yeah, sure.
And
we haven't done that yet. We're halfway through this convention.
So that all of the vendors were on the ground floor, on floor 1, and all of the panels were on the 4th floor. So we had to make the trek up all the escalators to get up to the 4th floor. And then they were like, okay, if you're here for the panel, go up against this window. There's like lines formed. So we go over there. There's just like a mass of people over there. We had no idea where this line starts or stops. Because
of the timing, we were getting in line for the Devin Sawa panel, which, dude, we grew up with that dude, so that's cool. And so we go to get in line, a mass array of people, no organization, nobody standing there. I don't know where the front of the line, the back of the line is. And then we kind of get in a position, and then a drunk lady comes over, and she starts like organizing the line. And I'm just like,
oh yeah,
Lord have mercy. And her husband's like embarrassed. She's like, that's my husband over there. And he's just kind of like got his hand over his face like, oh my Lord. Like she wasn't like directly talking to me and Andy, but she was like addressing the crowd. And she was very like a housewife type, just weird. But yeah, I think at that point I looked at Andy and the people just kept piling in. And I was just like, I'm cool to leave if you are, because this is getting to be a lot. And he's like, that's cool, yeah, let's just go. So we thought we'd be able to just walk out of there.
No, that's not what happened. So as we were leaving, I think the previous panel was letting out, and like the way they do it is everybody has to leave the panel room. You can't, even if you want to stay for the next panel, you can't stand there. Everybody has to leave. And you have to get back in line for the next panel. Well, all these people were coming out, and like I said, there's only one escalator to go down to the lower floors. Well, the escalator was all backed up, so everybody was just backed up in the hallway. We were just trying to leave them, but we had to wait for the people to file out, through all the different escalators.
There was like a cop who was having to basically direct traffic, and he was having to like grab people by the shirt collars and pull them back because they were trying to like go around him. They're like, oh, I'm just going to the bathroom. He's like, no, you ain't.
Yeah, because I guess they were making people, once you got out of the panel, you couldn't just go get in line, the next line. You had to go all the way downstairs, I guess.
Yeah.
Down to the first floor and then come
over.
back up.
Yep.
It was crazy. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that place, the convention center, is the best place to have this. I don't know.
It's a big place, but the crowd was bigger.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be surprised. And that's the thing, too, is I don't know if this is like the biggest place they've had yet, or if there's somewhere else they could go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally called a convention center. Like, that's what it's for. But it is what it is. And so, at this point, we had already had a pretty decent day. The crowd made it a little unbearable and exhausting. And so, we're like, hey, let's just go ahead and bounce. We still got Sunday. So, we leave. Eventually, are able to get out of there. And, of course, we park in a parking garage. We're dealing with traffic and everything. And then, it's like, dinner's like a couple hours away. Let's just go ahead and vintage stock and look at some movies.
Yep. So, we spent a good amount of time looking through the movies they had. They had a sale going on for Memorial Day. And yeah, I mean, they have a lot of movies there, but I just didn't really find anything I couldn't live without.
And it's so funny because we just came from a convention where everything was much more expensive, and we were like sitting on our hands, because we wanted to buy everything. We go to a place where movies are completely affordable, and it's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, they did. I don't know. I just didn't really find anything that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. In this day and age, I mean, it's all about that physical format for collectors, but at the same price point, or at the same point, you do pick up a DVD and you're like, oh, it's $5. Ah, but look, it's free on Tubi. And that kills you every time.
Yeah, it's hard to buy if you can just stream it online, especially if you don't have a lot of space to store physical media.
Yeah, it just sits in a box, right?
Yeah, that's where my stuff is.
And then you don't know what you have in the box.
That's true. Yeah, that was another thing. I couldn't quite remember what movies I have in my physical media collection. So I was like hesitating to buy stuff. I'm like, do I have this? Do I don't? And so yeah, but
Dinner time.
yeah. So we got to meet up with one of our listeners, Renee. So that was really cool. And Dave's girlfriend, Julie.
My beautiful woman.
Yeah. So we went to Olive Garden.
Of course, my favorite restaurant.
Yeah,
and you were down, so
yeah. So we had some good food there. And
I love Italian food. I love Mexican food, man. Sign me up anytime.
Yeah, so we were chatting.
What'd you eat?
I had lasagna.
Was it good?
It was good. It was really good. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I of course always get my chicken parmesan. Ever since I discovered that, I was like, oh, I love this. There's no reason to ever order anything different. The price keeps going up. It's very irritating.
Yeah.
But it still tastes good, so I got it anyway.
Yeah, so that was fun. And
that was like, what, 2 hours? We just sat there, ate, and just talked horror, man. It was great.
And even out in the parking lot, Julie went on her way, but me and you and Renee, we still talked about horror for a while.
Cutting it up for another hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool. And then we came back to the hotel, and I made Dave watch a couple of movies.
It kind of the way you said that, you're like, I made Dave, and I'm like, a sandwich. But no, man, you've been talking to me for a long time about a very particular movie because it's one of your favorite found footage films.
It is a horror in the high desert. There's 3 films out currently, and they're all they're kind of like mockumentaries. They're partly found footage, but they are more like mockumentaries. And basically the premise is a hiker goes missing in the Nevada desert, and they have to try to find him, figure out what happened to him. That's kind of the start of the story.
That's a pretty interesting premise. Like, I'm on board.
Yeah. And so we watched the first 2 movies last night. After the first one, Dave was like, I don't know, because he was a little underwhelmed by the ending. So I was like, okay, well, I think there's more that happens in the second movie. So we popped that on.
But before, I'm like, pause it. I'm totally cool to watch another movie. But Andy was like, man, I could sure go for some chips right now. And I'm like, light bulb, let's go downstairs because there's a little store inside the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, but the little small bag of chips is $4. Like, really?
Right. Which we kind of anticipated high prices.
Yeah.
But not a great selection.
No, it was like either Cool Ranch Doritos or Nacho Cheese Doritos. And I don't know, I think that
I mean, don't get me wrong, like, if you're going to have 2 chips, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's probably loved by, everyone. But then I'm like, oh, bro, let's just walk to the convenience store. It's, like, right there.
Oh, yeah.
And so, we did. We walked over to a little convenience store and spent, probably about $11, $12 a piece, and then we got some good stuff.
Yeah, we got some cheddar and sour cream Ruffles.
Yeah, 2 bags.
And then I got some Sour Patch Kids. You got some...
I got some Skittles. And I got some Sour Punch ropes. And, I'm ready to start the second movie now because there's no way it could be as lame as the first.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So we started the second one and we watched it. I think Dave did like the second one a little bit better.
It was a little bit better.
But still, I think...
I'm trying not to be an asshole. I'm like, but that's not saying much. But look, we got to tell it what it is. We're sitting in 2 beds with the lights on, watching a found footage movie that's like on a 32-inch TV that's 8 feet away. Not the best environment. This is not a movie you throw on with your friends. So because of that, I am going to rewatch these in a much more suitable environment. Okay. But my God, if they're not better, then I'm going to make you watch some crap.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. But at least it was cool that I did get to watch 2 movies that you've been recommending because, good, I saw them.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we did that last night, or, Saturday night.
Yep, and that ended Saturday night.
And then Sunday we woke up, had some breakfast, and we had some time to kill. So that's when we came up with the game with the horror oracle cards.
That's what we did, yeah.
Played that for a little while, and then it was time to go to the convention on Sunday.
Yep.
Sunday we got there before the doors opened, and there was like a big mass of people outside. I was like, oh man, are we going to have another Final Destination moment here?
Yeah.
But no, we actually kind of like we...
I unintentionally skipped like 75% of the people. I didn't know where the line was.
Yeah, we didn't know where the line was.
There really wasn't any organization that we could tell because we just walked up. It looked like a concert. Like there's just people everywhere.
Yeah. And
so I do what I do at concerts. I just start walking through people, not aggressively, but like sternly. Like I'm on a mission. And then I noticed that we walked from the back of the line all the way up to the first 25% in, and we walked right in. And the only reason that it dawned on me is when I looked back, I saw like it looked like an anthill just full of ants, dude. We skipped so many people.
Yeah.
I felt horrible about it, but I also was like, it's cool. I'm not going to go in here to like go meet people. I'm not getting in line. I'm just going to buy stuff. So at the end of the day, I didn't take anybody's place, you know.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, everybody was able to get in. It's not like, but you surprised me because you did get one.
I surprised myself, bro. So I ended up actually going to meet someone else.
Yeah.
And this is where it's really cool because I got to meet one of my favorite YouTubers.
Yeah.
Dead Meat.
Yeah, Dead Meat, yeah.
Dead Meat was there. I knew they were there. I wasn't sure if I was going to meet them. They had a big turnout. I was surprised, but I guess I shouldn't have been because that's what's in. YouTube is really big, you know. I sound so old saying, kids like the YouTube, but the reality is like half of the people watch stuff on YouTube, you know what I mean? And Dead Meat is no exception to that rule. It's a fantastic YouTube channel, so I'm not going to lie to myself. I was like, this would be cool. I'm going to do this. And so got in line, was able to get an autograph and get a picture with both hosts, which is really cool. It's James and Chelsea, and they were really nice.
Cool, yeah.
And Andy has never seen it before.
I don't think I've ever watched a...
Your mind was blown, like you're standing in line for this YouTube channel, and you're like, I gotta watch this.
Yeah, I definitely need to check out like a kill count or something now, because it's a big thing.
It is, and it's addictive, it's entertaining, and it's funny, and that just speaks to volumes of things I like.
So after we did that, we kind of were walking around, checking out the vendors again and stuff, and
then it was time for lunch, dude.
Yeah, we went up to that little cafe. We got some nachos.
Yeah.
So we were able to kind of sit out on the outdoor plaza thing and eat our nachos. It's pretty good.
Nachos and cold Cokes.
Yeah.
And it was windy like crazy, and my God, it was like having to hold everything down. It was just like, oh man. And luckily we did okay, but of course I spilled cheese on my shirt. That happened.
Oh man, yeah.
I'm glad I already met everybody I needed to meet before having a plain black t-shirt with a yellow blotch on it. Oops.
And we're looking at the panels, and we saw that there's a Reanimator panel coming up at 2 o'clock or something. So let's go up there. Let's check it out.
We're like 75% through this convention. We hadn't done a panel yet. We had to try.
Yeah, we thought, well, let's go up to the 4th floor again, see what the crowd's like. So we went up there, and it was a little better organized this time. They actually had people kind of in a line in a zigzag queue thing, so we were able to figure out where to go. And they actually had somebody there directing traffic. So yeah, we were able to go to the Q&A. There was Barbara Crampton, Jeffrey Combs, and
Bruce Abbott,
yeah, the other guy, yeah. So it was a fun panel. I mean,
that was your first panel ever, right?
That was my first panel, yeah. So they came out and they kind of talked a little bit, but then they had a Q&A time where they had like a whole line of people from the crowd that could go up and ask questions.
I was surprised for that. I mean, like, I understand what a Q&A is, but it wasn't called a Q&A, it was just called a panel.
Yeah.
So I didn't think, because they were, like, encouraging people to keep their cell phones in their pockets, no pictures, no nothing, but then they're, like, open mic questions, and that was really cool.
Yeah, so people were able to ask any question to those guys. And
I told Andy I'd give him $10 if he'd run up there and say, Scream and Skull Podcast rules, but he wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that would have been incredible. But the reality is, you could have been like, all right, cool, I'll do it. The last 5 people in line didn't get to ask questions, so you wouldn't have had an opportunity.
Yeah, because they were they only had an hour for the panel, and the next panel was Evil Dead, and so they wanted to make time for that one for
And
sure.
then the one after that was Terrifier, and so
Yeah.
those were going to run into each other and be chaotic as its own.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, if we had to go to one panel, I'm actually okay with it being Reanimator. I don't know if it would have been the one I chose, but that is a movie that I watched a lot growing up, and it was really cool because Jeffrey Combs does a lot of Star Trek, and so it was great to be able to be in his presence and let him talk about stuff. Barbara Crampton does a ton of horror, so it was really neat.
Yeah, it was.
And we had good seats.
Yeah, we did. We were able to kind of see them the whole time, and it was kind of cool to hear some of their stories of them on set of the Reanimator and
Right, working with Stuart Gordon.
Yeah, and just some of their experiences they had. They were like talking about the costumes they wore. They sold them in a garage sale. And like, whoa.
Yeah, and it was one of those if I had known what it would have been worth, I would have kept it. And I'm thinking we've all got a story like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it was fun, and so then we kind of went back down to after that we had to go, after we got out of the panel, they made us go all the way back down to the first floor. So then after that we just kind of went back into the main room and walked around.
We had 2 hours of the con left, and
Yeah.
I told Andy, let's just go make sure there's no regrets. If there's anybody you need to see, if there's any merchandise you've been sitting on and you want to get. There was one item that Andy wanted really bad, but somebody bought it.
Yeah.
And tell people about this little statue, this little custom figurine that was really cool, but it was $90, and that's what made you hesitant, and someone else bought it.
Yeah, there was it was a Kolchak Night Stalker.
Such a cool show, by the way. The fact that we both know that show is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So it was Darren McGavin, from the 70s. It was basically kind of like a Monster of the Week show.
Yes.
He was a newspaper reporter, and there'd be weird murders happening in the city. He'd go investigate, and it would turn out to be some kind of weird monster.
Dude, it got cryptic in there.
Oh, yeah.
There was a vampire. There's Jack the Ripper. It's a cool show.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. It probably streams somewhere, but that would be one to maybe cover on the show sometime.
Sure, I'd
that
be
would
down
be
for
a lot
that.
of fun.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
But really cool figure.
Yeah. And so we just walked around, and so yeah, it was kind of it was checking things out and making sure we didn't miss anything. I mean, there's just so much. It's
there was, but I said, you know what? I am not leaving here without getting a T-shirt of some kind.
Yeah.
I want another horror T-shirt. Never mind the plain black shirt with the nacho cheese stain on it. I will bear that the rest of the day, but I want to have something to change into later. And so I bought me a couple T-shirts, and Lord and behold, I got me a Creature from the Black Lagoon T-shirt that I didn't have, and a Phantom of the Opera shirt that I didn't have. And so I felt good about that because that's two of my favorite Universal properties.
Yeah, and they're really cool shirts. Like the Creature from the Black Lagoon shirt was a yellow shirt, and does he have sunglasses on?
Yeah, sunglasses on. It says Spring Break 1954.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then the Phantom of the Opera one was the one where he's wearing the skull mask and he's in the outfit.
It's I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's a Mask of the Red Death tie-in. Yeah.
So that was
great.
Yeah. So I mean, those shirts are really cool.
And I've seen those shirts online, and I've had them in my cart, and I've deleted them, and I've wished for them. But I'm like, dude, what if it doesn't fit? I don't like heavy cotton shirts, and sure enough, these were fine. So I bought them, and I'm happy. And I'm ready to leave this convention if you are, Andy.
Yeah.
And we almost made it out the door, didn't we?
Almost made it out. So yes, on Saturday, I had one. There's an artist there named Ghoulish Gary, and I think he's fairly well known in the community for making horror movie posters. And he had some cool ones. He had a couple. So he had a blob one that was kind of foiled. That was really cool.
And that's for the 80s blob.
Yeah, the 80s blob. And then he had the Toby Hooper's The Funhouse. He had two different posters for The Funhouse. I was like, oh man, those are so cool. But I was like, man, I don't know if I want to spend the money to buy them and all that. So Saturday I kind of deliberated. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to pass it for now, whatever.
And I purposely kept leading Andy over there so he would think twice about it. We would be sitting down, and I'm like, "Hey, look, there's Gary. Hey, look, there's that Funhouse poster again. This dude never pulled the trigger."
Nope. And then Dave was like, he's like, hey, he said, do you have any more of those Funhouse posters? And the Gary was like, yeah, I do. And he pulled one out, and Dave bought it. And I was like, you're buying the Funhouse poster? He's like, yeah. he said, "Happy birthday." I was like, "Dang, dude!"
Yep.
So he gave me a birthday present. So that was
I
really
did, man.
awesome, man.
Hey, I know what it's like to have to put yourself in check in a money situation, or just to be like, when it reaches a level of like, do I need this? I already have stuff, you know what I mean? It takes sometimes a buddy to just be like, I got you. And so you made the trip down here. I was like, dude, I'm not letting you leave without getting this poster. And so there you go.
Man,
And that's like your favorite Toby Hooper movie, so
Yeah.
you have to.
It's so awesome. So thank you, Dave.
You're welcome. You just got to promise me to frame it and take a picture. Let me see how
All
it
right.
turns out.
We'll do.
It's 18 by 24. So that way when you forget, you can re-listen to this podcast and 18 by
Okay.
24.
Yeah, I'll probably forget.
And so, I mean, I can't believe we remembered all that, but that was pretty much the whole thing, man.
That was it,
It
yeah.
went quick. It was 3 days. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, time flew by, yeah.
It did. They say time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, just
Yeah.
imagine being in a horror convention.
Yeah, it's going to go like that.
It is. So, you know what time it is now? We got
Time for Ask Me Anything.
Time
right?
for Ask Me Anything. We got some questions, and this was really cool because we had a handful of questions come in from listeners, and I didn't write down the names because I didn't know if anybody wanted to have their name mentioned or not. I forgot to ask, and so I'm just going to go ahead and respect everybody's privacy and just ask. And next time we do this, you can tell me if you want your name mentioned or not. And so, Andy, if you want, I can read the questions out loud, and
Okay.
we can go by it, and we'll go one by one. Do you want? We'll probably go in order. That way, we don't make sure we don't miss any of them. You cool with that?
Yeah.
All right, so this one's really cool. It says, has there ever been a movie that has left you scared? And so I'll rephrase that and be like, Andy, what horror movies have scared you?
Okay, so there have been. So, I think I saw the first Paranormal Activity in the theater, and that really kind of like got under my skin. And I remember that night when I went home, like every little noise, I was like, okay, what's that? Yeah, so
Sure.
So that one definitely was. That one left me scared. And when I was a kid, there was definitely some like Amityville Horror and Jaws. Like Jaws
sure.
made me scared to swim anything, even a swimming pool. And even I saw Halloween 6 in the theater, and that kind of scared me some. Yeah, I was a teenager at the time, but it kind of left me a little scared. I know now it probably doesn't hold up as much, but I still love that movie. So yeah.
That's really funny because I had mentioned we've never seen each other's, answers. Has there ever been a movie that has left you scared? The first thing I wrote down was Paranormal Activity 2.
Oh yeah.
And so I remember the first time I'd seen the first Paranormal Activity, and it got to me in the best way. And I love the feeling I get being scared. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. But something about the second one kind of elevated some things for me. They tried some new parlor tricks, and they really worked. And specifically in that movie, there's a scene where like a kid's toy gets like activated and moves on its own. And that took me by surprise. And, I was raising little kids at that time, and I'm like looking over at the toys. I'm like, oh hell no, no sir. And the other thing, how you mentioned Jaws. I have an insatiable fear of the water.
Yeah.
I wrote down 47 meters down.
Oh yeah.
And that movie got me good. And here's the realities: I love aquatic horror. So if I can watch scary horror movies based in the water, it totally puts me in that vibe. You see people who get scared of certain movies because they're like afraid of the dark or afraid of whatever the case is, and you see how they act and they cringe up and they get very like in a box, right? That's me when I watch a water horror movie, because if you make me feel like I'm in the water, I'm dead, bro. Like I am terrified. And 47 meters down did a couple of things, especially that damn scene. You've seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
They show it in the trailer, but whenever she's like trying to swim up and it's dark and she hits that flare and it shows that she's surrounded by dude, that scene, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I could write down several different movies, but specifically I'm going Paranormal Activity 2 and then 47 meters down, because I like to be scared. Not everybody does it, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. All right, let's see here. Andy, what was the last movie, and if it wasn't horror, I'll even say last horror movie that you saw in theater?
Oh, for me it was Sinners.
Sinners. I forgot you saw that.
Yeah.
I almost recommended we see that this weekend. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Yeah.
It was good. Did you see it in IMAX or?
Yeah, I saw it in IMAX. Yeah.
All right.
And I think that's kind of the way it was intended to be watched.
For sure, that not many horror movies have been filmed that way, and so it's kind of a big deal. I think Nope was pretty groundbreaking for what they did.
Yeah.
That's cool. I still haven't seen Sinners, but I will. It's just probably going to be when it streams now.
Yeah.
And the last movie I saw in theater was actually Final Destination Bloodlines, because it came out not too long ago.
Oh,
We all went and saw it opening night, and, you know, it was fine. Like, it was by no means bad. To a lot of people, they would say it was really good. It actually got really great reviews. I really enjoyed the opening, like, tragic scene that everyone starts with. Every Final Destination movie has that one big thing. I thought this one was really good. And there was a couple of characters in here that I really liked, and they were really funny. So the comedy actually really works. The death scenes were creative and good. But, man, the end happened, and I'm like, and it's over. And I'm like, it was fine. So I still recommend people see it, though.
Yeah, I'll also check it out. I like we were kind of talking about this earlier, but I need to go back and watch all of the Final Destination movies again.
And for the first time.
And for there's a lot there's some that I haven't seen yet. Yeah.
All right, my dude. Let's move on to the next question. This is a good one. This was a hard one. If you could have any horror franchise rebooted or remade, what would you choose?
Yeah, so my choice was I actually said Nightmare on Elm Street. Even though it's already been rebooted or whatever, but I think that just ignoring that and going from the original reboot again, I think you can make a reboot that's kind of more scary and not as funny, kind of more.
They tried that.
Yeah, well,
but I mean,
it
wasn't successful. Unfortunately.
So the actor actually that I think that would be good or might be interesting. I guess maybe that's like a second part to the question: who would you cast?
Sure.
So for me, I would actually cast David Dasmalchian.
As Freddy. The Late Night with the Devil guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let him have it. I don't know.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Andy, this is really funny. So I wrote a really long. See this big paragraph? That's my answer.
Oh, okay.
And I literally starts off with, "Okay, this one is hard for me," because I already said that. But I had to reiterate. Some of my favorite franchises are still making movies, but they're not quality horror films, right? So where I would like to say stuff like Amityville or Children of the Corn, they're still coming out. So I'm not going to touch that. There's a couple decades that are really good for horror, and that's like 70s and 80s. Just more of wanting franchises and movies to be remade. I would just like to recapture that aesthetic and style.
Yeah.
But I had to answer this question, and I shit you not, if you look over here, I wrote down A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, cool.
This is so weird having some of the same damn answers.
Yeah.
But I also had to answer who would you cast. Now, I didn't say the guy you did, but I also feel the same way that I think it's time to get some more Freddy, and I would like it to be like old school Freddy. Now, there's a lot of people that fit that role. I know a lot of people are big on David Howard Thornton. I would be interested in seeing what that looks like.
Yeah.
The two that stood out most to me are like Kevin Bacon, because he has that aesthetic already. That bony, tall. He's great to the horror genre. But I would be interested in Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. Wow.
Luke Skywalker as Freddy Krueger. He's a great voice actor, so I know he could do it. He does Joker. I think he could have fun with it, and so I'm gonna say, show me a Mark Hamill Freddy Krueger. That's what I want to see. Yeah.
So for me, like I would want Freddy to be more demonic looking, or just kind of. I don't know. I think they need to like reboot his appearance too, but
okay.
But still have the glove, But
what about the sweater and the fedora?
No, I say take like.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna get stabbed.
I know.
By somebody's Freddy glove, dude. They love that. You're saying change it. What would you do? I mean, like you.
Like I said, with David Dasmalchian.
They did work with that a little bit. Like New Nightmare, he's in a trench coat. That was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's
the mask was different.
Yeah, something more like. It's like a dream demon, So it's like kind of build up more of a dream demon type thing. I don't know.
Okay.
But it would still be like Freddy Krueger, but like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Like you want it like basket case looking, where he's like.
I don't know.
Do you want it like slimy and like see people?
Nah, probably not gross, but just something different. I don't know.
Horns. Nothing says demonic like a pair of horns.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know, extra late. Yeah, just something different. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
hey, man.
It was really hard to come up with an answer for this one, too, yeah.
It's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
The reality, though, is just like some things shouldn't be remade. Let the classics be, and we love it. And then we hear they're getting remade, and sometimes you're excited, and sometimes you're fearful of it, but does it ever resonate, right? And there's only been a couple of remakes that I liked better than the original. And so, yes, I would love more Howling movies, more Children of the Corn movies, more Amityville movies. We're kind of still getting stuff, but all this modern stuff just doesn't have the quality to these old franchises. And so to have it rebooted or remade, it would have to really impress people.
Yeah, there's like so many of these older movies have already been remade and stuff. So I'm trying to think of like what hasn't been remade yet.
Right. Well, and that's the thing too. Like Friday the 13th is a great answer, but there's a Peacock show coming, so that's still kind of in the works. And I'm interested to see what that turns out to be. But I want it like old school Jason.
Sure. Yeah.
Make it fun. Give me the campy slashers.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody tries to remake, I'll tell you this right now. Like this isn't the question, but if somebody is like, okay, remember a long time ago, you and I did an episode on remakes we want.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna tell you about a remake I never want.
Okay.
Nobody better fucking touch Sleepaway Camp.
Okay.
1, I don't think that story would fly today. But 2, there is only one Felissa Rose. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. The movie's gold.
Yeah.
He's taking a wicked dump.
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie, dude.
Yeah.
All right, so great question. All right, next question, my dude. This one is another two-parter. It says, in a post-apocalyptic scenario, would you go solo or would you band together with others? What would you do? Post-apocalyptic world, shit hits the fan. You by yourself or you in a group?
So it depends on the scenario because it was like you can state what you do in each or a different scenario.
Right.
So like if it was like if it was just like a chemical warfare or a natural disaster, I'd be fine with being in a group of people.
Okay.
But if it was a zombie apocalypse,
Oh,
solo.
yeah, that makes sense.
Because you just don't know who's going to get bit, who's going to turn into a zombie.
It never works out.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah, for sure. I would. Yeah. What
So
about you?
I'm going to take this question in a different. I'm going to put some exceptions to the rules.
Okay.
So, end of the world, shit hits the fan. I totally get it. Post-apocalyptic can be several different ways. I want to answer this question in a way that, as if I didn't have children. Because if there's something wrong in the world, I'm going to have my kids, regardless. I'm going to be with them. That's also, like, a huge strain, you know what I mean? To have to, like, watch out for other people like that can't defend themselves in a situation like this.
Yeah.
So, pretending the kids weren't involved in this post-apocalyptic world, however it works out, I would still be in a group, though.
Okay.
Even if it was zombies.
Yeah.
Because I've learned a lot about myself, and I don't like to be alone for too long.
Okay.
And so, if that happened, I don't think I would survive. But if I had other people to keep me going, I think I could also return the favor, protect y'all, and keep y'all up.
Okay.
So, I can't be alone.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. And I know that the other question was like, nuclear, biological, chemical, natural disaster, zombies, like all these things. I think that rule applies to everything. I don't think that situation for me would change.
Okay.
All of it. I don't want to be alone. I don't want my kids in harm.
Yeah.
But you're like, if no one's going to bite me, then sure, they could be around. But otherwise, you're gone.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question that wasn't asked.
Okay.
All right. This has happened. What weapon is yours?
Oh, so like a weapon for zombies or just...
Sure.
Or,
Like let's say that it's zombies of any kind, it's vampires, it's whatever. It's something you have to fight off. What weapon do you have?
Well, my first thought was a gun, but then I was thinking, well...
Ammunition's a problem, right?
Yeah, ammunition could be limited.
But you can hit from far away, so it has its pros.
Yeah.
You could go bow and arrow. You can make arrows.
Yeah, I'd have to learn how to use one, I guess. I mean, I guess I know how to shoot a bow and arrow. That's not a big deal.
You ever played Zelda? You got this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like maybe like a...
My weapon of choice is nowhere practical.
Okay.
it's also like it's probably like a really bad idea. But I'm Chainsaw, bro. Like, I love chainsaws. Obviously, that's stupid because you can cut up a zombie, it's going to bleed on you, and you're going to turn into a zombie. It's going to fly in your mouth. You have to have gas to power it or whatever.
Yeah.
But my goodness, chainsawing some zombies for a few minutes would be pretty cool. Outside of that, I'm going classic, bro. Just give me an axe.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's see here. Next question. Oh, this is a good one. What was your favorite celebrity interview?
Yeah, this one was hard to pick.
We did a lot.
But yeah, we did several. So I think if I had to pick, it'd be. Well, I got two that I
Okay.
really enjoyed.
Okay.
I really enjoyed talking to Sid Haig
Yep.
because that guy has had a lot of knowledge about working as an actor, like very wise, and a lot of experience. So it was really cool to kind of be able to talk to him about that, his experience. And also Michael Berryman.
Yes.
He's a very prolific actor and just a super nice
So you
guy.
like interviewing bald people?
Sure, yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, both super nice, but just both had a lot of knowledge about the acting and had some good stories.
Both were kind of larger than life
yeah,
icons.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, even non-horror people know who Michael Berryman is. You show them this picture, like, oh, that guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's been in some movies and he's been in a lot of movies.
Had some Star Trek,
Yeah, he's got a unique look to him.
X-Files.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also does previews for movies that he's not even in the movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man. Some good picks. This question hit me a little different. Because I, kind of like you, I started thinking of the heavy hitters, right? Like, who are we so proud that we were able to get on our little show? And then, I started thinking about what meant the most to me, and it changed all my answers.
Yeah.
Bro, some of my favorite interviews, when you brought me on to interview me, Black Hat Shadow,
Oh,
our friendship was built on that.
yeah.
We've been talking ever since 2017 because you interviewed me for a dumb little movie I wrote.
Yeah.
Also, when I interviewed Jed Bryan, friends for life that people I'm meeting. Whenever Brian from Terror Podcast interviewed me for that same stupid movie. I don't know how I convinced y'all to interview me, but I'm glad I did because I made great friends out of it. So, though I'd love to sit here and say a whole bunch of people because, my God, there's so many. When I look back on it, it's just the ones that have kind of made friends for life. So,
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Those are all my favorite interviews.
Yeah.
And that's heavy because I've interviewed some classic monster movie children.
Yeah.
So.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. You want me to keep reading questions, or do you want to jump in? How do you want to do this?
Let's see here. So I don't know if we have them in the same order, but
okay. Then I'll just keep it going because it's formatted here. This is a really fun question. What's your favorite underrated horror movie that came out before 1960? And I can't wait to hear your answer because you don't watch as many super old movies as I do.
Yeah.
I want to know which one you think is underrated that you love.
I actually think It Came from Outer Space.
Oh, so good.
I don't hear people really talking about that movie, so I feel like it is underrated. I don't know.
It's popular enough that it has like its physical releases and everything, but no, you're right. Like, I mean, where's that at AMC? Where's that at Alamo Drafthouse? Like, I want to see that in theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, it would be cool if more people talked about those movies. But
Yeah.
it's a great pick, and you love it. I mean, Richard Carlson's in that movie. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a pod people movie. All right, this will come to no surprise, but one of my favorites, if not my favorite, pre-1960 underrated movie. It's Creature Walks Among Us, man. 1956.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I will vouch for this movie any day. Obviously, original 1954 Creature from the Black Lagoon is amazing, but it gets all of its notoriety. Like, everybody and their mom love that movie.
Yeah.
Then you start talking about sequels of Universal Monsters. People only talk about Bride of Frankenstein. That's like the only sequel that gets brought up that stands on its feet. And I get it. It introduces a new character. It's great. Yes. Okay. Then you bring up Creature. People go, oh, Revenge of the Creature. I'm like, okay, part 2. Yes, it's awesome. Same director as part 1. It's great. Nobody talks about Creature Walks Among Us, and I like that better than Revenge of the Creature. Creature Walks Among Us is just awesome, and it's littered with people. It's just a good time.
Yeah, it is a pretty good movie. That's because I have seen that one, even though I haven't seen the second movie.
I think people think it's weird because it changes things up.
Sure.
Because it takes the Gillman out of the water, and it kind of changes up a couple things with the story. But that's the charm of it. It's different and it works. It's two different kind of creature movies, and they're both good in one. And you got like Rex Reason, you got Jeff Morrow. Everybody knows Jeff Morrow from The Giant Claw. Like, it is a good movie. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I might even spend $1,700 and something on the poster.
Yep.
I might.
Oh yeah.
So that's a good one. All right, my dude, let's move on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 questions left. I know we're running long, but this is a special episode, so let it happen. Let the boy watch. The next question says, who in your past has had the most influence on your love for horror?
So for me, like, there hasn't really been a person per se, but more like the television set.
Ooh.
Like, it was like whatever was on TV, like movies I could catch that were playing on TV. That kind of influence, like, was nostalgic for me now, and the movies that I kind of gravitate towards now as an adult. I would say, Dave, you probably influenced me a lot on horror stuff because, you know, you're my horror bro. You know, we talk about horror movies all the time. So,
every day.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I would say you for as an adult.
So I'm the next TV.
Yeah.
All right. Hell yeah, man. That's cool. I was wondering what you were going to say because I know that you came from a family that didn't encourage horror. But damn, TV is family. We know that. It's the babysitter, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So you were raised by the horror hosts.
Yeah.
Awesome. My answer's a little different.
Okay.
Because I did have somebody very specific in my life, and I've talked about it a few different times, and it's my aunt. I mean, everybody knows that I got into horror when I was the right age, like 8. But it really wasn't until I was about 12 years old, and I saw The Relic and Scream, both in theater, probably a week apart. And obviously I couldn't get into those movies by myself. I had the interest to go. I was curious. But my aunt took me, paid, allowed and provided the experience, and has since to this day been somebody that I can talk horror with any day. And I will always love her to death for that, because that is a bond that sadly you didn't have, Andy. But I had several bonds that I didn't have in my life, and I was glad to have this one at least. Because I didn't grow up with a dad. But I grew up with a kick-ass aunt and uncle. I very got lucky with that. But it all started, man, with Relic and Scream, and me being like, "That's great. What else you got?" It was awesome.
Yeah, those are some great movies to see in the theater too.
And doing this podcast with you now, I can totally attest to the same thing. It's like, I mean, if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't see Horror in the High Desert.
Yeah.
Hell, I've even seen part 2 now.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. So we got 4 questions left, but I'm going to change the order up because I kind of want to put 2 of them together. They're similar. And so we're going to jump over and say, if you could have one meal all day, every day, for the rest of your life, what would it be?
So this is kind of, I was kind of thinking about it and going back and forth, but I kind of picked something just kind of basic. And
People.
No.
Oh.
not Soylent Green, no.
Oh, no, don't ruin it.
No, but hamburger and french fries. Cheeseburger and french fries.
Cheeseburger and fries.
Yeah, I mean, because it's basic, but you know what? It's like, it's just something I could see myself eating and not getting tired of.
It's Americano, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's,
for sure.
It's barbecues, it's 4th of July, it's
Yeah.
McDonald's. And that's a great answer because when I think about it, I think there's 2 food items that people don't get tired of. One of them is hamburger and cheeseburgers. As long as you eat meat, you're eating that. Because you can go to McDonald's and have a burger. Most people probably don't, but you can, and it tastes one way. You turn around and go to Whataburger or Brahms, and it tastes completely different, where you can have burgers more than once in a day, but because they're from different places, it's a different experience.
That's true. I didn't actually think about that because I was thinking literally a cheeseburger and french fries, like the same
one?
The same one over. But I mean, technically, I guess I could go to
That
different
wasn't in the
restaurants.
question, so you can have different burgers.
Okay, cool.
But
Yeah.
that leads into what I know. I said there's two things: hamburger, cheeseburger, right?
Yeah.
And then people are probably gonna say pizza because you can have different kinds of pizza. Now, if you were forced to eat just a pepperoni pizza all the time, that's still pretty fucking good. Because like pizza's like sex, even when it's bad, it's still good.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's not my answer. But my answer is Italian. It's not pizza. It's spaghetti.
Ooh, yeah.
I've been eating spaghetti my whole life, and I will forever eat spaghetti, and I could never see myself getting tired of it. I know some people see spaghetti as like spaghetti tonight. It's kind of like the lazy meal.
Yeah.
Or it's like leftover spaghetti, you know. I'm like, bring that shit on, because growing up, my grandma made spaghetti for me, and that's what I ate. She made it and put it in this giant green bowl and put it in the fridge. And so where some people woke up and they had cereal in the morning, I was like, bam, spaghetti, cold spaghetti. I don't even care. I'll warm it up if I can, but spaghetti and Pepsi, like that's where I'm at.
All right.
And you know, my grandma is gone.
Yeah.
Right? Rest her soul. Loved her to death. She made the best spaghetti ever. I go to Olive Garden, I still have spaghetti.
Oh, yeah.
You know. But and when I said chicken and Parmesan, that comes with spaghetti, so don't try to call me out on that. It's still spaghetti. I've been with Julie 5 years, and I've told her about this, and she tried to replicate it, and she did a damn good job. Mm-hmm. I haven't had that kind of spaghetti in a long time, and I've been blessed to have it brought back into my life, and so I'm so happy. Julie, I love you. Thank you so much for doing this for me. You know, M&M's like mom's spaghetti. I'm like, fuck you. Julie's spaghetti is where it's at. And so I will forever eat spaghetti. You know, just noodles, meat sauce. I don't even need meatballs. I'm good.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I like some spaghetti. You know who else who gets super excited about spaghetti? It's Randy here on Mars.
That's true. He is a spaghetti guy too. I forgot about that.
Like on Twitter, he posts, "Oh, it's spaghetti tonight," and he does the Vincent McMahon meme
strut.
Yeah, the strut. Yeah,
I can see him doing that too.
Yeah,
I strut too. Good call. Yeah. All right. So cheeseburgers, spaghetti. We're plain, but we like it. Also, hey, real quick.
Yeah.
What do you put on your hamburger? Like cheese, all that stuff. But are you like a mustard, a ketchup, a mayo, or a sauce?
I like mustard and ketchup.
Okay.
I'm open to mayo on a hamburger, on a cheeseburger. I love bacon on a cheeseburger.
Have you ever had it with like Thousand Island dressing?
No. The weirdest, or not the weirdest, but the most, I guess, quote unquote exotic thing I had on a hamburger was buffalo sauce, like from.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the reason I asked is because that's the secret sauce at Big Mac. I think they mix like salad dressing.
Okay.
Yeah, that Thousand Island. I mean, it could just be ketchup, mayo, mustard, all thrown together. It makes that weird color.
Yeah.
Still delicious though, but all right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I was like, you got more hamburger talk?
No.
You want to talk about the hamburger from McDonald's?
Robble.
Yeah. All right. So we got 3 left. Let's go ahead and dive into this controversial answer or question, and that's: if you could go back in time to any historical event and be there, what would it be?
Yeah, so this one I went pretty personal.
You said your birth because.
No, I don't want to see that. No.
Okay, you go back to my birth. I'll go to your birth, and then we'll have trust issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll go to compare umbilical cords, right?
That's right.
Mine's longer than yours.
Oh, God. Nothing changed.
But yeah, no, I said, so I grew up in a religious family, and like kind of got away from it as an adult, but like the biggest, like one of the most things I question is like, is the reality of Jesus, and like, it would answer so many questions for me if I could go back in time and like see if Jesus actually resurrected from the dead. Because that would answer like I said, it would answer so many questions for me. I wouldn't have to, it wouldn't be by faith, or you would have to believe in it. It was just, you would know, And so I think for me, because I was raised, to just believe in it, believe in what somebody else told me, and I really struggle with that. I struggle, with trusting in the Bible, and stuff like that. And so,
dude, you went so deep and personal. I was not prepared for that.
Yeah,
that's a great answer, because I think everybody's probably right there with you with like Like, whether they believe or unbelieve, like, they want to see that. That's such an uplifting, pun intended, thing.
I mean, that's the whole basis for Christianity, is if
right. Without it falls flat.
Yeah. So that's my answer, and not to get too much into religion or whatever, but still.
If you did that, and it was validated, would that change things for you?
100%, yeah.
Yeah. He did, so. So cool, man. We won't spend too much time on that because I know some listeners are like, I don't want to hear about that. But I do think that for you, knowing what I know about you, that's a great answer. I went just as deep, but not as serious.
Okay.
Though this is kind of, when I saw this question, I was like, oh, let's go, because this has been tearing at me forever. If I could go back in time to any event and be there, be able to solidify if it really happened or not, Apollo 11, first manned mission. I don't think we ever landed on the moon.
Wow,
I'm not dying on that fucking rock, pun intended again.
All right.
Dude, look, man. I seen the video. I see the photographs. Nickelback, okay?
Nickelback, what's that?
Look at this photograph.
Oh, okay.
Of Neil Armstrong on the moon. No, I don't think it happened. Why haven't we been back? People say, because we already went, why would we go back? I'm like, because it didn't happen, my man. I love Star Trek. You think I would be so open to this? Like, oh, of course we did. Look at all this. Yeah, well, it's science fiction. Means not true. We didn't land on the moon. Cover up, conspiracy, whatever you want to say. Have other people done it? I don't know. But if it was so easy to do, if we accomplished it in 1969, why haven't we been back?
So
people today, modern technology, have been trying and can't do it.
So you'd want to be in the spaceship going to the moon?
I would. I would want to be in a fucking astronaut suit, sitting there with my arms crossed and be like, go ahead. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take off.
Yeah.
I didn't think so. Lies. So,
okay. I'm not going to argue with you because I have no idea. I just, it's one of those things, you just take what people will tell you and you choose to believe.
We're force-fed to believe we landed on the moon.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I think that did a lot of good for the world in the time period. It launched the whole space race thing. But really, did we though? It seems so unreachable now. You're telling me a long time ago? Okay. But, yeah. All right, let's see here. Oh, man, we're down to the final 2 questions, which is the reason why they're the last 2 questions. And they're good questions because of the weekend we just had. And this first question says, what is your favorite horror collectible that you own?
All right, so I'm glad that this question came at the end of the convention because I was able to add some collectibles to my collection. So like probably my most prized ones are my autographs that I have. Like I've got Caroline Williams played Stretch on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I've got Ken Foree. I've got Sybil Danning, and I've got Bill Duke. So I got those 4. So those are probably some of my prized positions, along with the Funhouse poster you got me. I mean, that's a really awesome poster. That's definitely going to be one of my favorite posters that I have. So. And
that poster is the vinyl image, right?
Yeah.
How does that work? Like, did he do the image for vinyl, or did he replicate it for the poster? Like,
He made the image, and then they used that image for the the cover on the soundtrack So it's the artwork that's on the vinyl soundtrack for the Funhouse. Yeah, that's the artwork that's on the poster. So it's totally awesome. So I mean, yeah, those are probably just, I think because those are like the interactions I've had with people from movies that I love. And
sure.
So those autographs are kind of like souvenirs of those experiences. Yeah.
Okay. Things that I love that I own. I'm kind of a broken record about this stuff here, but I'm a Universal Monster guy, most specifically Creature from the Black Lagoon, so I love all my Gilman stuff. I have a lot of it autographed. Rico Browning, a legend, and so he played the Gilman every time the Gilman was in the water, and a lot of our stuff is of that. I would love to get something from Bill Chapman, but the question is, what do you own? As of right now, I own Rico Browning material, and so I love all my stuff. I have posters, I have like 11 by 14s. I had all kinds of sizes, 24 by 36, you name it, I got it. I have the masks, I have the hands, the costume stuff. I love it all. But this weekend I obtained some Tom Savini stuff that's really great. And so my favorite stuff that I own is my creature stuff and my Tom Savini stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. You showed me some videos of your room and stuff, your collectibles. You got a really cool creature collection.
Thank you, and I hope to always add to it. And that actually invites the final question of, if you could add anything to your horror collection, what would it be?
All right, so the first thing I want to add is I want Paul Rudd to sign something from Halloween 6.
A lot of people, only if they're horror fans, will know that he was actually in that movie.
Yeah. and I just want to see him, I want to see his face when I bring a little. I got a little Halloween 6 poster this weekend at the convention. I will take that and say, Paul Stephen Rudd, sign this. Yeah, and I think that would be awesome.
Well, and we were talking about this earlier. Conventions are great. We have a lot of fun. Obviously, it's about who you meet. Obviously, it's about the memorabilia. But man, being able to meet somebody that's in one of your favorite horror movies and get stuff signed is legendary. And I would just do you think he even does conventions?
I don't know. Maybe a pop culture one, because he does the Ghostbusters movies now. He's in them. And,
oh shit! Yeah, you're right. He was Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, yeah. So,
dude, I think this is coming to fruition. Let's manifest this thing.
Maybe, and he's from KC too. He's from Kansas City.
Oh man.
So there's different events that he comes to town for, with the sports teams and stuff.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, so I don't know if there'd be an opportunity to meet him at something like that or what. But yeah, definitely.
But you would do it. Would you stand in line for 5 hours to get?
Yeah, I think that would be kind of the pinnacle, one of the highlights of my collection. If I could get something from Halloween 6 signed by Paul Rudd, that would be awesome.
That seems like, outside of certain folks who maybe are not with us, but for any living member from Halloween 6, that seems like the hardest to obtain, because you're going to get a lot of people from 6, no problem. You know what I mean? Because they're still relevant now. There's anniversaries for Halloween 6, but he is easily the most famous person from there that's still alive that doesn't do horror exactly.
Yeah.
He's kind of, they did that Unicorn movie recently. That was horror.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe he's a little more open to it as he's gotten older. But that would be sweet.
Yeah.
Hell
yeah.
All right. If I can own anything and add it to my collection, I said I had all these creature posters. Obviously, the reprints. But I would love original. Creature from the Black Lagoon, Revenge of the Creature, Creature Walks Among Us, 27 by 41s, American, Italian, Spanish, I don't care. These posters are in the thousands. Short of me winning the lotto, I'm not going to be able to buy these. But man, if I could have any of those, that's like the pinnacle. That is the bucket list of horror collectible items. Yes, I want stuff signed by Ben Chapman and Don, the guy that played him in Part 3. There's several different things, but original stuff, sign me the fuck up. That's what I want. And this weekend was really cool. I started some new collectible stuff with Tom Savini, and I had got The Burning. And I got Rosemary's Killer. I'm thinking next time, maybe a little Day, a little Dawn. Some zombie action.
Yeah, those would be great to have.
Those would be somewhat affordable if I save a year.
Yeah.
And with that being said, that's all our questions. But if I'm saving for a year, that means we're going next year.
Yeah, this is something we talked about. We want to make it a yearly thing.
It's going to be a Screaming Skull staple. Bearing an emergency, every year we'll go to the Texas Frightmare, because we had our complaints. But it's true, everything's bigger in Texas, man. This thing was a massive turnout. Tons of people.
Oh, yeah.
But that's because tons of people were there signing and hanging out and being great with fans. And, man, we should do this. And in 10 years, I expect some Screaming Skull tattoos.
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
And if nothing else, it gives us the opportunity to do this, man.
Oh, yeah.
To do a podcast sitting across from each other, staring into each other's eyes like we just filmed fucking 5 feet apart with Cole Sprouse. Yes, he was there. But, man, it's just a lot of fun, and I look forward to it. And so, If you're listening to this episode for the first time, by God, if you made it through, thank you. I know the audio was probably horrible, but I hope it was because it was for a special reason. We recently put out The Prowler. Hope you loved it. This is the next episode to come out, but we are doing a continuation of slashers. We haven't nailed down exactly which slasher it's going to be, but you can rest assured it's going to be some sort of greatness 80s slasher, and it'll be Andy's pick, so I can't wait to see what you picked, man. So you got anything else, or you want to wrap this up and get some dinner?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Good, because it's Taco Casa night.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Phantom Dark Dave.
And I'm Abnormal Andy.
Thanks for listening to the Screaming Skull podcast. It's been Texas Frightmare, bitch.